Hello and welcome back to Daily English with Lily and Leo. I'm Lily.
And I'm Leo. And today we have a big topic, a universal one.
One that I think every single person listening has experienced at some point. Comparing yourself to others.
The great hobby of modern life.
It really is. We're going to talk about when it helps, when it definitely doesn't, and what English sounds like when you're doing it, which involves comparatives with some very useful modifiers.
Grammar through genuine personal suffering.
Exactly. Also, if this is your first episode with us, welcome. Please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And for everyone who's been here a while, thank you. Right, let's go.
Lily, you go first. When have you caught yourself comparing yourself to someone else?
Okay. After I left my programming job, we talked about burnout and changing careers in an earlier episode. I did something I already knew was a bad idea. I opened LinkedIn every morning for about 2 months.
Oh no.
Every morning. And I watched my former colleagues, people I'd started with, same year, same company, getting promoted, launching startups, speaking at conferences. And I was sitting on my kitchen floor doing stretches before a run, thinking, have I made a terrible mistake?
But you hadn't.
I hadn't. But in that moment, it felt so much harder to see that because I was comparing my very uncertain now to their very polished public version of now. LinkedIn is just a highlight reel.
A highlight reel with very good lighting.
Exactly. And I kept thinking, she's doing so much better than me. He's so much further ahead. Why am I not there yet? The more I looked, the worse it felt.
When did it stop?
Slowly. I deleted the app for a few months, and I started paying attention to what I was actually building. The runs, the podcasts, the routines. Things that don't appear on LinkedIn because nobody posts, ran 5 kilometers in the rain and felt genuinely human again.
They should. That sounds like a significant achievement.
It really does. What about you?
So there's a journalist I started out with. Same small publications, same kind of stories, very similar level. About a year ago, he published a long-form piece in a big international magazine. Front page of the website, photography, the whole thing.
And you saw it.
I saw it, and my first reaction was genuinely, that's brilliant. I'm so glad for him. Real response, no performance.
But
then I opened my own work folder, and everything suddenly felt slightly smaller, slightly less polished, slightly less.
that's very honest.
It lasted about a day. And then I thought, he spent 3 years researching that piece. I know because I watched him work on it. I was comparing the finished, published, photographed version of his work to my messy, in-progress drafts.
You were comparing his finish line to your middle.
Exactly. And that's just not a fair comparison. There's no useful information in it.
It can still motivate, though. The question is whether it pulls you forward or just makes you feel behind.
Fuel or fog, as someone wise said to me approximately 10 minutes ago.
I said that, yes. And I've been guilty of the fog version more times than I want to admit. Not just with work, with running, too. I once watched a woman my age run a half marathon in under 2 hours and thought, that should be me.
And is it?
Not yet, but watching that video didn't help. What helped was going outside the next morning and running 5 kilometers, which is a lot less than a half marathon. But it's the direction that matters, not the comparison.
Okay, I'll raise you one worse comparison story. The guitar.
Oh no, what did you do?
I found a video, on purpose, which is the embarrassing part, of a 10-year-old who had been learning guitar for 3 months. She was significantly better than you.
That is, first of all, true, and second of all...
I showed Tom. He refused to comment, which says everything.
I have been learning guitar for longer than 3 months, I will say that much.
Considerably longer.
Considerably longer. The neighbors can confirm.
But to be fair, you kept going. That's the point. Compared to where you started, you're a lot further along.
Thank you, sincerely. Now, the other comparison trap I keep thinking about is comparing your actual life to an imaginary different life you could have had.
The parallel life comparison?
Right. If I'd stayed in programming, where would I be? And then my brain invents a very successful version of that life and holds it up next to the real one.
Tom does this in the other direction. He's still in the village and he wonders about city life. and I'm here and I wonder about his porch and the quiet evenings.
And you both romanticize the other person's situation completely.
Entirely. He thinks I have concerts and spontaneity and energy. I think he has peace, time, and full silence. Neither of us has the full picture.
You're comparing something real to something imagined, and the imagined version wins every time because you've edited out all the inconvenient parts.
Tom has edited out the rent and the traffic. I've edited out the one bus on Thursdays.
2 buses, actually. Thursday and Saturday.
Even worse. Okay, speaking of things I keep not resolving. Screen time.
We're doing this?
You were going to bring it up.
I absolutely was. You mentioned in one of our very early episodes that you were going to think about your screen time. That was quite a long time ago now.
Yes. And I look at your 1 hour per day and I feel not great about my own number.
Which is?
Somewhere between this is fine and I should probably rethink my life, which is where it has been since episode 4.
At least you know the range.
I have very clearly defined the problem. The next step is just, doing something about it. At some point.
One day. Okay, let's talk about friends, because Nina is a really good example of this whole comparison question.
Nina leaving corporate to teach yoga? Everyone around her, colleagues, family, looked at her and thought, she's going so far backwards.
Less salary, less status, less of everything that looks impressive from the outside. But she had a completely different definition of being ahead. She stopped dreading Mondays. She started feeling like herself again.
And David, too. When he retrained as a plumber, people in his old office saw it as a step down. Less prestigious, less whatever office status means.
But he said the unexpected thing he gained wasn't just the work itself. It was losing all those postponed tasks from his head. No more 30 emails sitting there, avoided for 3 weeks. Every job in front of him is either solved or it isn't. Much simpler.
Less prestigious on paper, far more present in reality.
Which is a much more interesting comparison. Mark, on the other end of the scale...
Mark would make a spreadsheet.
He already has. You told me about the holiday one. 12 columns.
With a column called Optimal Sunlight Hours per Cost Unit. He showed it to me in person as a genuine achievement to be proud of.
And was the holiday good?
Perfectly fine, but I think he would have had the same result if he just picked somewhere he felt like going 4 weeks earlier.
For Mark, the spreadsheet is how he manages the anxiety of choosing. The comparison is the process, not the answer. And it works for him.
Exactly. I'm not judging the spreadsheet king. He has his system. Also, Biscuit has never compared herself to anything in her life, and I think that's the most important character detail I can offer.
Pure confidence.
She woke me up this morning by sitting directly on my chest and staring at me. No doubt. No, am I doing this right? Just full stare, complete commitment. She is not wondering if the other cats in the neighborhood wake people up more efficiently.
She is simply the best, and she knows it.
Completely. Someday jar update, €5.40 this week.
10 cents up.
Small but real. Biscuit supervised both mornings. Mystery box still sealed, still officially her bed. I've decided the uncertainty is the point. It contains cables, possibly a lamp, and apparently now a whole philosophy about not needing to know everything.
All right, vocabulary?
Vocabulary.
5 words today, all connected to the topic.
First word, compare.
Compare. To look at 2 things or 2 people and notice how they are similar or different. She compared her first draft to the finished version and realized how much had changed.
And we often say, compare yourself to someone, looking at your life or your progress next to someone else's. I spent too long comparing myself to people I'd started out with.
Compare. Second word, measure up.
Measure up, a phrasal verb. To be as good as expected or to reach a required standard. I was worried the new place wouldn't measure up to the one we used to love.
It's very common in the negative. He'd worked incredibly hard, but still didn't feel like he measured up, meaning he felt he wasn't good enough.
Measure up. Third word?
Worthwhile.
Worthwhile. Worth the time, effort, or cost. Something that has real value.
Worthwhile. The training was long and hard, but the result was completely worthwhile. Or, it doesn't feel worthwhile to compare yourself to someone at a completely different stage.
Worthwhile. A very satisfying word to say. Fourth word?
Envious.
Envious. Feeling envious means you want something that someone else has. He was envious of her ability to speak in front of large groups without any visible preparation.
There's a useful distinction. Envious versus inspired. Envious is wanting to take it away from them. Inspired is letting it show you what's possible for you.
That's a genuinely useful difference. And the fifth word?
At your own pace.
At your own pace. A phrase, meaning at whatever speed is right for you without being pushed by someone else's timeline. You'll improve at your own pace. What matters is that you keep going.
She came back to training at her own pace after the injury. No comparison, no pressure.
At your own pace. That might be the whole lesson in 4 words.
Maybe. Right. Grammar time?
Grammar time. Today, comparatives with modifiers. So, basic comparatives. Bigger, faster, more interesting. A plain comparative tells you the direction of difference. It doesn't tell you how much.
That's where modifiers come in. Words you place before the comparative to show the degree.
Strong modifiers first. Much, far, a lot. These show a big difference. Her situation is much more complicated than it looks. He's working far harder than he was 6 months ago. That was a lot more useful than I expected.
And earlier I said so much further ahead. So much is another strong one. Very natural in spoken English. She's doing so much better than me.
Then there are the small modifiers. Slightly, a bit, a little. I used one earlier today. Everything felt slightly smaller. That's a small difference.
So big difference, much, far, a lot, so much. Small difference, slightly, a bit, a little. They change how dramatic the comparison sounds completely.
And then there's the structure not as. The second week wasn't as hard as the first. It didn't reach the same level.
You can make it stronger, not nearly as. He's not nearly as experienced as he thinks. A bigger gap than you might imagine.
Not nearly is useful because it implies some real distance. It's not a small difference. It's significant, just in the negative direction.
And finally, twice as, or 3 times as. This takes twice as long as I thought it would. She's been doing this twice as long as me. Of course the results look different.
That last one is really good for removing the guilt from comparison. If someone has been doing something twice as long, their being better isn't about talent, it's about time.
Quick practice?
Quick practice. I give you a plain sentence, you add a modifier.
Okay.
The grammar section is difficult.
The grammar section is slightly more difficult than the vocabulary section, but far less difficult than actually remembering to use it in a real conversation.
Good. Running in January is cold.
Running in January is much colder than I remember every single November when I tell myself it'll be fine.
Every year. Your turn.
Biscuit is confident.
Biscuit is far more confident than any human being I have ever met. She is not nearly as uncertain as a first-year journalist. She is twice as sure of herself as literally anyone.
Perfect. That's today's grammar. Much, far, a lot, slightly, a bit, not as, not nearly as, twice as.
Use them when you need to show not just that something is different, but how different it actually is.
Small modifier for a small difference. Big modifier for a big one.
Motivation?
Motivation. Today was about comparison, and the most important thing I want to leave you with is this. It's not whether you compare yourself to others. Almost everyone does. It's what you do with it.
Is it fuel or is it fog? If it pulls you forward and shows you what's possible, that's useful information. If it just makes you feel like you'll never be enough, that's noise, not information.
And there's always one comparison that's safe to make. Yourself today versus yourself yesterday. Are you slightly further along? Slightly more capable than last week? That's the only gap that matters.
Yesterday's version of me had €5.30 in the jar and hadn't made a home coffee yet. Today, I have €5.40 and I made one before Biscuit even woke me up. Marginally more disciplined. Marginally more caffeinated.
1% every day.
1% every day.
Small modifiers. Real progress over time.
Very smooth.
Right, before we go, the pizza debate.
We were comparing things all episode. So let me compare morning pizza versus evening pizza. Morning pizza, cold, quiet, nobody else is awake yet, cup of tea on the side, perfect 10.
Incorrect. Evening pizza is warm, it's intentional. It's shared after something worth celebrating or eaten alone as a proper reward. Far better than morning pizza, not nearly as close as you think.
Not nearly as close. You used today's grammar.
I used it on purpose.
You absolutely did not use it on purpose.
Okay, I did not use it on purpose, but I'm keeping it. The debate continues, as always.
As always. All right, thank you so much for being here today.
If this episode was useful, please subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more people who are working on their English.
And this week's comment question, who do you compare yourself to most often? Someone you know in real life? Someone you follow online? Or a past version of yourself? Tell us below.
We read every comment, every single one.
1% every day. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye for now.
Bye.